Hello, my love. Welcome back to Is It Just Me, the podcast where we're normalizing not having it all together, figuring out faith, surviving adulting, managing mental health, and still keeping up with pop culture. I'm Shumi, your resident overthinker and girly, navigating life, God, and everything in between. So let's get into it, because surely, it's not just me. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming back to episode 5. I don't believe I'm still here, guys. Look at me, consistent queen of Is It Just Me? And in this section, it's called Life Lately, and we just do a quick update on life lately. So what I've been up to and things like that. Feeling good, I can't really think of the word, but I'm feeling good. The week has been super quick this week. I feel like I've just blinked and it's gone by. I had a lovely little date with one of my besties yesterday. We went for dinner, which really filled up my cup because I just haven't been out in a while. And yeah, I'm excited for the week ahead and just feeling refreshed, feeling good. Weather's gone to poo though, so summer has really truly came and gone. But other than that, that's life. We move. Cool. So as you probably can tell by the title of today's episode, we are talking all things letting go of control. So I'm going to move on swiftly into the make it make sense section of my podcast, where we just sort of talk about what led me to think about, I guess, this topic and why I want to talk about it. So for those of you who don't know, if this is your first time listening or you haven't listened to my original first episode, I took voluntary redundancy from the BBC in January. I worked there for just shy of 3 years. Prior to that, I've gone to uni, did A-levels, worked in several other jobs, etc. And I have always sort of been the type of person who does what society tells you is the right or correct next step. So being sort of unemployed and trying this sort of freelance content creation, podcaster, just trying different things has been a very, very scary journey for me, but specifically with thoughts of letting go of control. And it's just one of those things that has been on my mind lately, especially over the last week also, because I guess it's the idea of not having any idea really of where I'm going next for the first time in a really, really long time. It's that feeling you get when you sat with someone and they're asking you, so what have you been up to? Like, what's the plan? I don't have a plan. The plan is there is no plan. And that is very strange for me. And I feel very much out of my comfort zone with it, but I'm rolling with it. And I want to talk about sort of the illusion of control in it anyway. And sometimes how, because we want to be in control, we settle for things that aren't for us or we've outgrown because we're so used to it. And I just think that, I don't know, I'm in the season of my life anyway where I would rather be uncomfortable and trying new things and chasing things that I really want rather than be comfortable and be miserable, essentially. However, that's very difficult for me. I've struggled with anxiety for a long time. I feel like anxiety is just control dressed up. It's control and fear dressed up. It's basically the idea of I do not know what's coming next, and what's coming next could be bad. So it's been a very, at times, difficult decision to make, and constantly battling between, I don't want to try that again because what if it doesn't work out? And just that realization, I think off the back of my episode last week where we talked about fear of embarrassment, it's sort of not even just fear of embarrassment, but I guess the idea that I really don't know what's coming. And I'm in a season as well where I don't know what success even really looks like for me right now. I just know what I want to feel, and I think I'm moving towards that. But that is just, that in itself, it's very scary. So that's kind of where we're at today. So we're going to move on over into the meat of it, which is the where do we even start? So I want to talk about and dive into, I guess, the letting go of control and how scary it can be. I think that there is so many things in life where we are urged to have a good grip on, and I do think control in certain scenarios is good. Like it's good to have like control of your finances. It's good to have control of, if you have like an ideal career path or something like that, it's good to sort of take the next, like if you want to be a doctor you're not in control of, you haven't gone to med school, like that's not going to happen. So there is sometimes things that you need to do, but I want to talk about the spaces where maybe maybe it's necessary to let go of control a little bit, and it's really scary. And letting go of what we thought maybe was going to happen in a certain place in our lives. I'm going to speak from my perspective. I think that as someone who essentially got into their dream company, like I always wanted to work for the BBC, and I think that when I was in uni, it was kind of like this glorified company of where everything, like if you're a media like person, if you're creative in that field, it's seen as like sort of like heaven, the place where you go and you can just stay there for like years, and you're guaranteed this prosperous career path. And that just wasn't my story in the end. And I actually had a lovely time at the BBC. I was put in like a gorgeous team and I learned so much. But I think sometimes when you've told yourself this is going to be it, it's so hard to let go of, okay, well, I think I'm changing as a person, and then therefore I think my goals are changing, what my idea of happiness is changing, what I want to feel like is changing. And taking the voluntary redundancy was one of like the scariest things I've ever done in my entire life. But also I already know that it was one of the best things, because I needed to take time to focus on what I actually wanted to do and almost let myself just try things. I didn't really have time to try all the things that I had an inkling I might be into. And also I think when you've been told that your talents lie in a certain area, it can feel a little bit scarier to sort of try and dabble in other areas. So like if you've been told, I don't know, you're a fantastic photographer or you're a fantastic writer or a singer or whatever, you might dim down other parts of you that are trying to come to the surface sometimes. You might also be a great writer, yeah, but you might also be a fantastic dancer. And sometimes because of the narratives you fed yourself or the society and your friends and your family have fed you, you can dim down other parts of yourself that maybe want to come to the surface. And I think this is that time for me. I think I've been, I guess, glorifying my other skills over communication, over talking, over that storytelling aspect of myself. I love being able to just analyze things, which to me doesn't feel like a skill, but I recognize now that through friendships and people sort of just being like, oh no, you're really good at that it is a skill. And it's so easy to dim down the things that come easy to you because they come easy to you. But it's when people that you love sort of tell you like, oh, I couldn't do that. Like even I went for drinks with a friend a couple of weeks ago, and she was saying that like the content creation side of myself, like she was so proud of me for doing that. And I was like, oh, like I'm not saving lives. Do you get what I mean? Like I'm not doing anything incredible or whatever, but it was her. But yeah, but like even though you do it anyway, despite the fear, despite your anxieties, you go for it. And that is a skill, like being able to set up your camera or set up your microphone and talk and be relatable and think about things on the spot. That those are skills. And it really just like it sat with me for the last couple of weeks, because I just really don't think about this as a skill. I feel like anyone could do it, but apparently not. And I think that we do that a lot. We dim ourselves down because we were able to do something. And I don't know, I just think that that's such a disservice to yourself and to the life you're living. When I want to tie back into, I guess, the letting go of control, it's the letting go of the life that you thought you would, like the path that you might have thought you were going to have. So for me, I never really actually thought that my success would come from something like a podcast or content creation, because it's such a saturated market, and I just didn't see myself thriving in that environment because a lot of people don't. And I was doing myself a disservice there, but I had to let go of the control. And by doing that, it means I might fail. And by doing that, it means I might succeed. And I have to sit in this uncomfortable reality of either of those things could happen. And that's okay. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing in 5, 10, 15 years. And that's okay. And it's a very uncomfortable feeling, but a necessary one, and a muscle that I'm definitely keen to grow. And I also want to talk about if you're the type of person who maybe is in control, but isn't in control of how people are perceiving you, and you really you're waiting for your breakthrough, you're waiting for your moment where people recognize you in your field. I was reading about one of my favorite actresses, Viola Davis, and she grew up in extreme poverty, often not knowing really like where they were going to eat or not being able to heat her house. She managed to graduate from Juilliard, which is obviously insane, like one of the most prestigious schools schools for theatre and acting and all that type of stuff, despite all of that. And then she went years, I guess, really without any proper recognition. And if you obviously have seen anything she's done recently, you know that she's phenomenal and now probably one of the best actresses, in my opinion, in Hollywood. But her breakout role was a role that she did in Doubt, which was 8 minutes long, and it changed her life. Like, can you imagine? She probably was even considering not doing that, like thinking to herself, oh, what is 8 minutes going to do for my career? And that is the thing that propelled her career. And that was the thing that allowed her to be nominated for literally an Oscar from an 8-minute performance against Meryl Streep in Doubt. Like, can you imagine? Like, she's 43, she's been acting for like well over 20-30 years, and now she's winning her Oscar nomination for an 8-minute performance. And like, if that doesn't show you really aren't in control of, how people perceive you or when your breakthrough will happen. And it can come from the most unlikely places, but that doesn't mean it's not worth trying everything. And I think that's sort of the example I guess I'll go with. I really want to be that type of person, the person who takes everything as an opportunity and sees everything as an opportunity to really excel. It's so easy today to just be like, oh, well, that's not going to do much for my career, and to just let go of potential because you want to be in control. Like, be like, I went from strength to strength. And to outside people, that 8-minute performance probably wouldn't have been, something that they might have thought was going to be particularly successful. Like, if you told your family and friends, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have an 8-minute role, they probably will, oh, that's nice. Granted, it was against Meryl Streep, someone who is fantastic, but they probably weren't as excited as previous films or theatre shows she had done. And yet that is the thing that let her be seen to so many and go on to do so many amazing shows and films. I think that just really stuck with me, that you really aren't in control of when your moment's coming. You aren't in control of how people see you. You aren't in control of anything except for the attitude that you bring to certain things. And if you give everything the attitude and the time it deserves, your breakthrough or your moment or your success can come from anything. And I guess it's also, even if that didn't happen, like, it still would have shaped her into a person who takes every opportunity with both hands and tries and puts herself into everything. And I think those are also amazing skills to try and hone in yourself. It's just the idea as well of embracing all the versions of yourself, all the talents that you possess, and realizing that all of the dreams you have are worth it. And you never know where your moment will come from and the thing that really makes your heart sing will come from. But if you're trying to control and maneuver everything to be the way you picture it, a lot of the time you miss out on things that will catch you by surprise. And I guess I really want to be different to that. I don't want to be the person who misses out on their thing because they were too scared of not being in control of what it could lead to. And I guess that's kind of it for me. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. I feel like the last few ones have been a bit longer, but it's just a quick note, that it's okay to not know what's coming up next, and it's okay to try things despite, what you might have been telling yourself was going to be the correct path for you. And so the verse of the week today is, many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. And that's Proverbs 19 verse 21. And you might have had a plan, but his plan is always bigger and it's always better. And even if it unfolds slower than you thought, or it takes a little twist and a little turn, trust that he knows what he's doing, and it's gonna work out. God will never take anything away from you and not replace it with something better. And I've been loving that saying recently. And I just want to say thank you guys for being here and listening to me. As someone who has really had to take a back seat when it comes to control, I'm grateful for the people who are really trying to pour into me right now. Cool. All right, my love. That's all from me today. If you related to anything in this episode, don't worry, it's not just you. Make sure you follow, share this with a friend who's also figuring out life, and DM me your Let's Unpack This moments for future episodes. I'll catch you next week. Love you lots. Bye.